Hello, this is Toyspell, and today we're looking at MS General's KongKong. MS General is a small company that makes model kits, and they're the same people who brought us Tane. So like Tane, KongKong here is a model kit from the Journey to the West series. He's JT02, it says KongKong here, and this is what he's going to end up looking like. He is a robot monkey with a motorcycle. Here is one side of the package. On this side of the package, you can see that just like Tane, there are fluorescent or bright colored or black light reactive colors on KongKong that make him glow. Another side, the opposite side, and the final side of the package. On this side, we have a profile written in Chinese that I can't read, but I'm sure the same profile will be in the instruction booklet, and I'll use my translation app for that one. Like Tane, let's see if we can read the profile. Orange on orange may not have been the best colors to choose for text on a backdrop, but let's try reading it anyway.
Amazing combat robot with unknown origin and rebellious personality. He once called himself the Great King of Kitian and declared war, blank, land, and Buddha. Finally, it became a total failure, and then he disappeared. Until 500 years, he comes again.
That's a pretty accurate general summarization of Wukong's story, so that works. Alright, as much as I hate model kits, I'm super excited to rip this open, so let's get into it! We have the booklet. Sprue kit, sprue kit, sprue kit, sprue kit. Empty. The booklet looks pretty nice, has the same description up here, probably a little easier to read. On the first page inside the booklet, we have the profile I mentioned before. Let's use the Translate app on it. That's a pretty interesting translation. I don't know how much of that we can trust, but Wukong in the Air Force? I guess it makes sense if this is like some kind of flying bike, like his flying cloud. And the first two pages are production photos of the figure. And then after that, it's just the directions to build. So I'm really excited to get this guy built. Let's go through the process of building him. Sprues. Check. Nippers and file. Check. Instructions. Check. Let's get building. I ordered this from Show Z Store, and I've never seen packaging as good as Show Z Store does. So it really surprised me that so many pieces were loose from the sprue kits. I had to look at the sprue kits and see which ones were missing, and then I could number them accordingly. But for like C, I don't know which one goes with which number, so we'll learn on the way. I'm sure it won't be too big of a problem. And we finished the head. Getting really hype here. Let's go finish the rest of it. KongKong is finished, so on to the review. For the review, let's get this out of here so we can see more clearly. Okay, let's take a closer look at KongKong and what he has to offer. He has a lot of colors on him, especially since each piece is a different part that you put together. He looks really, really good. He's got a lot of details. I really like the shapes that go into his armor. I like this shape here, the lines there, the blue, the green, the silver, the black. I think the silver might actually be painted. I think it was like a white piece that was painted silver or something. But that would be the only thing on this entire model kit that is painted. Everything else is plastic mold part. So he looks really good. And then let's take a look at some of his accessories. We've got two gripping hands. These are to hold his staff, since they hold his staff a little better than the hands currently on him. One thing they did differently than with Tane is they actually let him have the red on both hands. No matter which hand you choose, you get the red coloring, whereas Tane, if you chose the gripping hand, it would just be flesh colored instead of blue. And then we've got his staff. A couple things about the staff. You get 3 golden parts, and on the top and bottom you have this little design there, and it's right there again. And then for the green, it looks like an energy effect, which is really cool because it goes with the whole cyber aesthetic of this figure and of Tane. And the green matches his eyes, so maybe whatever powers his staff also powers him. And then the last thing, like the traditional Jingu Bane, his staff does extend. You probably have to grab it pretty sturdily, and then you pull it out on either side. So grab it here and pull it out, and then his staff's even larger. And then you can also make it shrink by pushing down and pushing down. The staff has 2 positions. One position is to open this up, and it suggests you pull it all the way off, and you would slide it into this hand so he grips it, or you can have it on his tail. I don't know why the clip is on his tail instead of his back, but you can clip it onto his tail, and then push his tail to his back so it looks like it's on his back. And the final accessory, if you can even call it that, is this motorbike. It's got one wheel, it's got a kickstand. Honestly, when it has the kickstand down, it doesn't stand too well. Like if I was just to put this down, it's gonna fall over. It kind of stands better without the kickstand. So what you would do is you push the kickstand here, and now it stands pretty well. So this is what it looks like. It's got the green energy again, the clear blue windshield. It's got handlebars, kickstands, the seat. This thing here will move. It goes up and down, and then the whole thing can go back and forth. So it goes right there, and you can tuck it in. So now it's a sleek motorbike that he can sit on. And it's got this whole golden cloud motif going on. So this is probably very similar to what his Nimbus should be. Or this should be very similar to what his Nimbus is. And then on the back here, behind all of the clouds, you have these two thrusters. And they do move. They are articulated. Now let's talk articulation on KongKong. His head is on a ball, so it will tilt this much on either side. And it'll look back that much. And down really far. So the up, not so much. I mean, the up's pretty good. And down really far. The shoulders are also on a ball. It'll go up that far, down that far, and it'll rotate all the way around. And then this little flame shoulder piece right here will actually slide up and down a little bit. There is the equivalent of a bicep cut, so he can rotate his arm like that. And then he has this hinge here, which will let him bend his elbows less than 90 and straighten out. His wrist is on a ball, so it'll move all the way around like a ball would, but then it also has this hinge here. It'll move in, and it will move all the way out. And on this hand, he has articulated fingers, so his thumb will go out, and it'll bend, and these fingers will also go out. There are two sets here, and they're made to look like they're actually all 5 fingers. So you see the line going through it. It's made to look like 2 fingers each, but they will crumple into a fist and open up. He has movement in his abs and waist, so he can go forward that much and back really far, and then he can also tilt, and twist. Hips are on a ball, and they can do full split, and they can go forward all the way around, all the way to the back, and backward all the way around. Between this gray piece here, which is his ball socket, and this piece, which is his thigh, he has a thigh cut, so he can rotate his thigh. His knee is a hinge, so it can go in that much and out that much. The feet are on a ball, which point down that much and point up that much. And then they can also go outside that much, but then they can also go inside really far. Both of them go inside really far for wide stances. And then you can also rotate the foot all the way around. And the tail is multi-segmented, so that's a segment, that's a segment, that, and this, so they can bend pretty much wherever you want it to go, and it'll spin. Each piece will spin, each piece will bend. And because of that movement, you can put the staff in his tail, fold his tail up into his back, so it's rotated a little bit. And that way it looks like he's holding his staff on his back. And you can also remove this clasp here. That way, if you don't have his staff on his tail, you don't have to have the clasp there. All right, let's pose him up now. First pose is kind of a kung fu stance. Next, we have him in that traditional Wukong pose where his alternate hand is holding the staff. Next, we have him in a full squat. And we've got a superhero landing. And maybe some kind of Kamen Rider pose. It's always fun doing some kind of screaming pose. Maybe he's going Super Saiyan. And here he is speeding on his bike that I'm now on calling Nimbus. Currently I have his articulated hands on here, but his grip hands do fit into this handlebar really easily. They fit really nicely on there. So you can do it with either hand. And here he is, very improperly balanced, riding his motorcycle like a surfboard. And the relaxed staff behind the shoulders pose. Even though he's not in any particular scale that I know of, we're going to put up some other figures so you can see what the size difference is. Star Wars Vintage Collection. He is just a little bit smaller. I mean, he's kind of the same height, but his head's definitely lower. 4-inch Fortnite figures. It'd be nice to have a Fortnite Wukong to pose him with, but a banana will have to do. And 6-inch Black Series. It's time to take a photo with him. Okay, so what are my final thoughts? The positive, absolutely gorgeous, ton of fun to play with, great articulation, just looks and plays phenomenally. To go more into detail with the positives, I mean, look at the detail on him. Look at the crown, look at the sculpt on the staff, all of this detail work. It's incredible. Look at all of this. And then the fact that he has the hook for his tail, so he can put the staff on it, and you can get the tail pretty close to his back, so it looks like the staff's on his back. He's got alternate hands, he's got a motorcycle, and he's just super posable. Another thing I really like about him, I have a few Wukong figures. I don't have any with monkey feet. I'm not kidding. That's actually a really big highlight for me. Having monkey feet on a Wukong figure is super cool. Also, out of all the Wukong figures I have, none of them have a tail, let alone one this articulated. I am super happy to have a Monkey King with a monkey tail. And his staff extends. His fingers are articulated. He's got multiple hands and a motorcycle. And the negatives. I had to build it. I'm not kidding. That's the negative. I had to build it. I did not like building it. Yeah, that's it. That's honestly it. Okay, so yeah, I really like this figure, even if I had to build him. I guess I don't have much more to say than that. Would I suggest him? If you can handle the build part, 100%. Well, that's my review. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe and have fun.